I'll lead it off. I thought it was the best grappling event I've ever seen, and I think the only acceptable way to have any major grappling event from here on out is in a pit.
Yeah.
I love the pit. I'm so happy with the pit. The referee almost never had to reset anybody.
Mm-hmm.
There may have been one or two instances, and even then it was like very, very. It wasn't a contentious reset where everybody was screaming at each other and trying to figure out where everybody goes, and nobody was butthurt or mad or anything about what happened. I thought it was safer than a wall, like in a training room. I thought it was safer than going out on the concrete, which another promotion that shall not be named is
ADCC.
notorious. ADCC does it. They is notorious for letting people just continue matches onto concrete, which is just not safe.
Yeah. They were trying to. What ADCC was trying to do was to solve the problem of ref stoppages, I think.
Right.
By letting people continue on the concrete, and then you're just letting people grapple on the concrete, which is like, is that better than a ref stoppage? I don't know.
Right. Unfortunately, nobody cracked their skull open, but like,
right.
I don't think we were very far off. I mean, people were going through tables and shit.
Yeah.
It was really kind of a mess. So yeah, the pit. The pit was awesome. I loved it. I would love to train in one. I would love to compete in one. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Looks like the bull at a skate park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just looks cool.
Looks cool. I think it probably feels cool.
If anybody has a pit at their gym, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll come
We
through.
would like to feel the pit. It's called the alley, actually.
The alley, yeah.
An alley.
Yeah.
It might be trademarked for like CJI. I don't know.
CJI or
the alley is trademarked, but
yeah.
And yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought the alley completely changed the game. It is slightly weird. So what it does is it prevents. So like you can get like thrown into it, right? So like if you're on a traditional mat and you're getting thrown or about to get taken down or whatever, and you land outside of bounds, like the ref will probably just, depends on the situation, right? But you might just start standing in front of each other again or something like that. And what the pit does is like, it kind of, like you can still end up going out of it, but it's very clear, like once you're out of it, you're out of the game, right? It's like you fell off the thing in Super Smash or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're out of the thing.
Right.
And it's like very clear that you're out of it, right? And like...
There's no gray area.
Yeah, there's no gray area. It's not like, the ref should have let us, like, we were on the edge, we didn't have to get reset or anything like that. It's like you're very clearly out of it. It's still, like, it's going to change the game a little bit of jiu-jitsu, because now you can do things off of the wall. You can use the wall to, like, accomplish certain goals, just like you can with, like, the cage in MMA, for example.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe what it's doing, but it's like keeping you very slowly. It's like slowing down the ability to like get outside. Well, you can still end up outside of it, right?
Right.
Whereas like a cage, I think is different.
Right.
But
theoretically, you could end up outside, but the slope, the way it is, like the angle,
Yeah.
it'd be really difficult.
You have to like run up that.
You would have to.
Yeah. Like Nicky Rod got thrown full force into the alley wall in his first match of CJI. A full upside down, like just launched into it and just slid down, and like the match continued.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other interesting wrinkle that brings to the game is like for somebody playing guard, if you get pushed up against that thing, your head's pinned, you're like not able to move. It's as a guard passer, it's much easier to like keep your opponent in a pinned position if they are up again. And there were several matches, and I can't remember off the top of my head who. There were several matches where you could tell people were very purposefully like pushing the guard player up against the wall so that they could like get their head kind of scrunched up.
I think Trav and Pat Downey were in that situation.
Yep.
Close guard for like the whole match, basically.
Yeah.
Getting like just pushed up against the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, and there may have been. I can't remember if Joseph Chen was. At one point.
I think he got calf sliceyed near the wall.
Right.
And like I think
Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk was like. His back is on the wall as he's attacking the calf slicer.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So it can be utilized in different ways.
Right. And there were several people who were like running up
Felipe Andrew did it
off the wall
Yeah.
to either threaten submissions or guard passes, like,
or just to like move
or to move around. Yeah, which like that changes the game in a way that
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have seen before, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Did you watch all 9 hours of day one, or
I
did you
missed
take any
on
breaks?
day one. I went to bed
Okay.
after a certain point, and I missed Andrew Tackett's
Okay.
match on day one.
Okay.
I think.
The very first one?
Yeah, I missed the Nikki Ryan match. I missed.
That was very late. That was the last one.
Yeah. So I missed like Nikki Ryan. I missed Andrew Tackett.
Okay.
I think it was Andrew and Nikki, right? Yeah. And then.
I can't remember which one's older.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Okay.
I missed like the last
One
like
of the Tackett
handful,
ones.
but I saw like pretty much all of it, and then I
Okay.
saw all of day two.
Right. Okay.
And I took detailed notes like as the events were transpiring.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Do you have any surprises?
I think we talking about predictions. I guess I had originally called Joseph Chen to make it to the final, and he got cast-lasered by Hulk. Yeah.
But you called Nicky Rod to win.
I called Nicky Rod to win, and he won.
Yeah.
I think we did call Nicky and Felipe in the final.
I thought Felipe would win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just based on competition experience.
Yeah.
He's so well versed, and despite him not training no-gi or not competing no-gi very often, I thought that would be enough to get him by. But Nicky Rod was really, really impressive, as much as I hate to say it. I'm from the East Coast, so like Jersey just rubs me the wrong way, but it is what it is.
Fair.
The jiu-jitsu was very, very impressive, and I thought it was cool to watch. So yeah, those were our calls for the over 80. Under 80, you said Joseph Chen.
Under 80, I had called Joseph Chen.
And I think I picked Cade.
I think you did pick Cade.
I did pick Cade.
Yeah. I think you called both of the Ruotolos in the final.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, and I think
a lot of people were expecting that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think had Ty not got injured, then that probably would have been the case. But that was a gnarly.
That was a surprise. Was Ty's injury?
Yeah.
I haven't looked up exactly what the injury was after it happened, but Cade said that Ty's knee was injured.
Yeah.
It was against
Levi.
Yeah. Levi Jones Leary, who ended up winning. No, what the fuck? Winning all the way up until he didn't.
Right, up until he didn't. Yep.
Yeah. And then a lot of people were expecting Levi to have won the final.
Right.
So I think some people were surprised by that. I wasn't. I think just because like that one was controversial. I think just because I don't actually have a solid opinion now on that match, other than like Cade being on top was the phrase thrown around was effective jiu-jitsu, or like effective initiation of jiu-jitsu. Effective initiation of action.
Yeah. Right. And
so you can do that from bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do that from bottom, and man, that match, like as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, was in a lot of ways fun to watch. I was watching it with my wife's family, and Selena's mom is not a jiu-jitsu person. She was very frustrated. She made it very clear how pissed off she was at Levi for playing guard, and I had to like calm her down and be like, it's okay, this is part of the game. I know it's not the most fun to watch. She was like, but we just watched Tackett and Ruotolo go crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, they both have very similar styles, and that's like gonna happen sometimes. Like, you do have to like play the game, and I thought Levi was masterfully tactical throughout the tournament, and I think he stuck to his game plan. He stuck to what worked for him.
Yeah.
And I do think he initiated a lot of action. Where I'm not sure if you and I have talked about this yet, or if I can't remember who I was talking to it about, but I feel like and of course, this is really easy for me to armchair quarterback because I wasn't there competing for $1 million against one of, if not the best grapplers in the world in Cade Rutola, and so take that for what it's worth. But I think he should have used that top position when Cade sat down to set up a leg lock. Like, it was clear, and listen, like, Levi trained at Unity for I don't know how many years. He trained under Murilo Santana. You know the guy knows how to pass, and you know he could pressure pass. But I think that was his moment. If he was gonna steal it, I think that was gonna be it. Was to use the top like Hulk did with, like, Hulk had trouble with Joseph. Like, he was having a lot of trouble with Joseph, and I think he realized that he wasn't gonna win this match if he didn't fall on something, if he didn't fall on a leg, which he ended up doing. And that's where I feel like if Levi was going to win that, that's where he was going to win it. So that's just my take. Would love to know what you all think. Curious to know what your thoughts are. If you are inclined to agree, or you feel like Cade was like very clearly.
I actually didn't know who would win that one. Cade definitely picked it up at the end. And actually, like, that thing about when they, like, switched positions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it ended, they just switched back again. Right. It was like there wasn't nothing really happened in that, when, like, I think what you're saying is that could have been used more to Levi's advantage.
I think
right?
so.
It's like,
yeah.
According to us two guys.
We just lost our last Master Worlds tournament.
Yeah.
Or our last Master Worlds matches.
Yeah,
but
I wanted my heart.
Yeah.
But it's easy to say that from, like, the outside perspective. We also don't know what, like, Levi was thinking in that moment.
Correct.
Like, maybe he thought he did have a better chance, like, if he just went back to where he was. Like, maybe he thought he could win like that if he was playing to the rule set of, like, if he was thinking, okay, if I stay on bottom and continually initiate effective action from bottom,
totally
then, like,
valid.
This is how I can win. Right?
Yeah.
This is my time.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally valid. And, like, listen, this is, like, isn't to take anything away from Levi or Cade or whatever. Like, Cade won fair and square. That was it. Like, that's what the judges said. And yeah, listen, like, both of them world-class grapplers, and it's really cool. It was really cool to watch them, and I feel fortunate to have, like, witnessed such a, not just from that match, but, like, the whole thing, just a beautiful display of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, BMAC was saying during that whole thing, one of the commentators, he was saying that, like, that entire match between Levi and Cade at the end brought up a philosophical question of what do we value more in jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Is it top or guard work? That's what the question kind of came down to. The judges are, in theory, judging it based on the scoring criteria, and then everybody in the stands who's, like, booing at Levi for pulling guard and, like, butt scooting and stuff, they're communicating something different.
Right.
They're communicating, like, that portion of the audience who was booing, I don't know how many people it actually was. Like, what is that divide actually? But what we're seeing versus what they're being scored on could be two different things. It's like,
correct.
At the end of the day, you go with, like, how the match is supposed to be scored, right? And then you can also look separately at, as, like, the jiu-jitsu community, how do we actually think those things should be scored?
I also think, like, from a contextual perspective, that match came after we watched Cade
and Andrew
and Tackett go to war.
Yeah, the best jiu-jitsu match of all time that I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've been around for 3 years. I've seen a lot of jiu-jitsu matches.
3 years. Reminiscent of Gary Tonin and Kron Gracie. If anybody watching this has not seen that one, go back, watch Gary and Kron go at it at ADCC. I can't remember what year. It was when they still had the yellow mats. So it's maybe early 2000, maybe 2004. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But also, like, one of the best matches I've ever seen. This right up there, if not better. What a war. That was amazing to see those two go crazy, and then to hear the crowd chant one more round was really cool.
And that match would not have happened without the alley walls.
Correct.
They would have been out of bounds so many times, getting reset.
Absolutely.
I can't remember if it was Cade. Cade may have said this in his post-match commentary, or somebody said it. Maybe Cade, I can't remember. About how, like, yeah, like it was only possible because they weren't like throwing each other. Like if there was ref stoppages, there would be so many just like resets in the like they would just keep like flying out of bounds, and it would be like a completely different match. But because you could sort of like the alley walls are like quicksand.
Yeah.
Like out of bounds quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get out of it like really quick. It like slows you going out of bounds, and you kind of like go back in. Right, it's like that would not have happened without that. They were running out the walls, getting thrown into the walls, like
yeah, that was wild. I mean, if we couldn't see a Ruotolo final, that was the match I wanted to see.
Yeah, right? And too bad that wasn't the final.
Right, because as the commentators accurately described, those two try to kill each other. And that would have been every bit as explosive, not more. I can remember watching them at Worlds at Brown Belt, and that was another one of the better matches I've seen. Like they just fucking go, like they don't stop.
Yeah.
And you know, there's the number of times I've seen like teammates close out. They don't want to compete against each other, or friends who maybe like were on teams in the past want to close out. Like, no, these guys are brothers, and they try to murder each other, and it makes for some really, really exciting jiu-jitsu, and that I can appreciate that. So.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that surprised me was I had never heard of Kennard before.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah,
that was new for me.
He just kind of popped out of nowhere, at least on my radar.
Yeah,
and
he's the first person to submit Victor Hugo at black belt, I think.
Yeah, and he did it like immediately.
Yeah, it was very quick.
Yeah,
that was impressive.
Real quick heel hook. He ended up getting, what was it, the 60,000 or the 50,000
for the
for
best submission.
Best submission.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember if that one was 50 or 60, but he got like several tens of thousands of dollars for that quick heel hook.
Yeah.
On Victor Hugo.
So is he another Lachlan guy? Does he train with Lachlan?
I think so.
I know he's Australian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just assume that anybody who's Australian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Andrew Tackett got the most exciting fighter. Okay. Yeah. Exciting grappler.
Yeah. He deserved that for sure.
Yeah. So he got a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And then
thoughts on
Nicky Rod calling out.
Go ahead.
Gordon. Is that what you're gonna say?
I was gonna say thoughts on Gabby Craig.
Okay, let's talk about Gabby Craig first.
Okay.
Calling out Gordon. As I suspected, which I think I actually called this out too in when we were predicting, was that Craig was going to purposefully extend the match as much as he could until like he could tell that like the audience was starting to have enough of it. Yeah, and I think he did exactly that. Like the whole thing was like him kind of like riffing with Hanato Laranja on the sidelines. Like that was pretty much the funniest part of the match, and Craig was just like he shot like the world's sloppiest double to like start the match with Gabby, like the whole thing. What did you think about?
I didn't like Hanato's commentary. I thought that was really cringy, and I wished it didn't happen.
Yeah,
it was that part was tough to watch, and I felt like that was the energy in the room too. It was like, this feels like in the room
people were like, I don't know if I want to laugh.
Yeah, it felt a little weird.
I think he was funny in like an isolated like
in that interview.
In the interview, like that's
leading
hilarious.
up, so funny.
But maybe the joke doesn't work for extended periods of time in a live arena, perhaps.
Right. Yeah. While they're actually like going at it.
Yeah.
It just I felt like it took away from any semblance of legitimacy to the match.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like.
Yeah. Well, the match was not legit.
Right.
Yeah,
right. I get that, but like. You know, who knows? Like, maybe Gabby really did want to kill him. I have no clue. I don't know like what the relationship is like. I don't know how much of what Craig and Gabby do on screen is a shtick or like legitimate.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what I mean is like, it made it feel almost too jokey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For like such a
a supposedly contentious.
Right. Yeah. Like if you wanted to like really ramp up the.
You wanted to sell the controversy.
Right. If you wanted to sell the controversy, you like let them battle it out and like see what happens. And yes, okay, Craig was gonna win, but maybe not scream into the microphone for 5 minutes or whatever it was. Like it just seemed kind of meh. But
that was kind of a joke break, I think. It was kind of an intermission.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, but then
Nicky Rod calling out Gordon.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap it up. But He said, I'll put my million against your million, and we'll do it on the B Team channel. Gordon came back later and responded to it.
Uh-huh.
He said we're not doing it on the B Team channel. He was also making fun of like Nikki, like not knowing about taxes and the fact that he'll actually have to get somebody to front the rest of the money because he can't actually put his full million up and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
His battery's about to die. I guess we'll save that for another episode.
All right.
Cliffhanger.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, like,